Hi, and welcome to Edolab Markets. Today we are going to read momentum on 4 scales at the same time, using Edo Multi Stoch. The classic stochastic uses one period and gives you one reading. But momentum is not uniform. A 5-period stochastic and an 89-period stochastic almost never say the same thing. This indicator plots 4 of them in the same window, so the fast noise and the slow structure sit side by side. On Microsoft Weekly the 2 slow lines are still down near 20, while the fast one has already turned up to 68. That distance between scales is the whole point of the indicator, and it is what we are going to learn to read. Let's start with the 4 lines. Each one is a stochastic with a different period. The blue line is the 89-period stochastic, the macro reading, slow and heavy. The teal line is the 50, the intermediate trend, the one that usually decides the medium-term picture. The orange line is the classic 14 that every trader knows, and the yellow one is the 5, pure short-term momentum. On the India ETF the 4 of them are traveling together in the 30s, and the panel reads 3 out of 3 above the macro line. The 2 horizontal levels are the classic ones, 80 for overbought and 20 for oversold. When the 14 enters oversold the background turns green, so you get the warning without reading a single number. On Cardano Weekly the macro reading is at 2 and the intermediate at 3. That is not a dip, that is exhaustion on every scale. The fast line has already lifted to 47 while the slow ones are still on the floor. That is the classic shape of a bottom in progress. The fast one moves first, and the slow ones need weeks to follow. The mirror image is overbought, and the background turns red when the 14 closes above 80. On the S&P 500 weekly the macro is at 96, the intermediate at 92, and the classic at 85. Everything is saturated. That does not mean sell. In a strong trend momentum can stay pinned up here for months. What it does mean is that the easy part of the move is behind, and any new push is starting from an extreme. Read the extremes as context, never as a signal on their own. Now the crosses, which are the second half of the indicator. Every time one stochastic crosses another, a marker is printed. Small triangles are the fast crosses between the 5 and the 14. Bigger triangles are the 14 against the 50. The size tells you the weight, the slower the pair that crosses, the bigger the marker, and the more it matters. On AT&T Weekly you can follow the whole cascade in the panel, 5 over 14, then 5 over 50, then 14 over 50, and finally 14 over 89. That order is what a healthy turn looks like. The short-term leads, and the longer scales confirm one by one. When the 50 crosses the 89 the indicator prints a diamond instead of a triangle. That is the structural cross. It is the slowest pair on the chart, so it does not happen often, and when it does it is a change of phase, not a trade. On Merck Weekly you have both of them within a few weeks, a bullish diamond in April, and a bearish one right after. 2 structural crosses that close together are a warning in themselves. The macro structure is not settled, it is fighting. A clean structural cross is one that holds. If it flips straight back, treat it as noise. Here is the bearish version, on the Australian Dollar Weekly, the 50 crossing below the 89 back in February. And this is an honest example of what these crosses are not. After that bearish diamond, price went on to make new highs. The cross tells you that the intermediate momentum lost its grip on the macro one. It does not tell you where price has to go. Right now the panel reads bear bias, 0 out of 3 above the macro, with the classic 14 down at 28. So treat the structural cross as a change of pace, and confirm it with structure and price. Never on its own. Everything is summarized in the panel, in the top right corner of the indicator window. The top block is the cross log, the last 5 crosses, with the date, which pair crossed, and the direction. Below it, the current state, the macro bias, and how many of the 3 faster lines are above the 89. Then the zone of the classic 14, overbought, bull zone, bear zone, or oversold. On the metals and mining ETF the 14 is at 12, deep in oversold, while the macro is still at 63. The 4 values are right below, and that is the whole reading in one glance. In practice you are looking for one of 2 pictures, alignment or divergence. Alignment is when the 4 lines travel together in the same direction. The reading is clean, and the move usually has continuation. Divergence is when they disagree, and that is where you slow down. On the Germany ETF the macro is at 82 while the fast lines are down in the 40s, the structure is still up, the short term has already rolled over. Neither picture is a signal. They tell you how much agreement there is behind the move you are looking at. Let's open the settings and go through what you can change. The 4 periods come first, 89, 50, 14 and 5. Macro, intermediate, classic and fast. Then the 2 smoothing values, which decide how much noise you take out of every line. The overbought and oversold levels are yours as well, 80 and 20 by default, and the midline at 50 can be switched off. Each of the 4 lines can be hidden, so you can work with the macro pair alone if you want a cleaner window. And the panel has its own block, whether it is shown, where it sits, its size, dark or light theme, and how many crosses of history it keeps. On natural gas weekly the defaults already do the job. Change the periods only if your instrument really asks for it. One last state worth knowing is mixed. On Palantir weekly the panel reads 1 out of 3, with the fast line up and the intermediate down. Mixed is not a failure of the indicator. It is momentum in transition, and the honest reading is to wait. And be clear about the limits. This is an oscillator, so it tells you about the speed of a move, never about its direction on its own. Use it with structure and with levels. For scales agreeing is context, it is not an entry. Edo Multi Stoch is free and open source. You will find the full script on TradingView, and everything else on our website, www.edolab.io. Structure before signals. This is Edolab Markets, and we'll see you in the next video.